and I wonder if we have any, time for questions. It's hard to top that. Yeah.
I'm very interested in how you arrived at the casting for the last picture show. Every single performer was really launched, and it was exquisite. Can you just talk a little bit about the casting of Ellen Burstyn and Eileen Brennan and Cloris Leachman, as well as our three young stars?
Well, it was a pretty normal casting process. I mean, Bob Rafelson, who was one of the producers, was a very good director himself, gave me a list of middle-aged actresses or actresses in their late 30s, early 40s that he thought I should consider, about 10 of them. And Eileen Brennan and Cloris and Ellen were all on the list. And I saw them, and Ellen Burstyn gave a reading for all three parts, and I said, you know, you're so good, you pick the part. You can do any one of them. She called me the next day, she said, I'd like to play the mother. Okay, you got the part. Cloris came in, she was a complete crazy person. But when she read the part, she was great. And she was attractive enough and plain enough that she could be both attractive and plain, and she gave a very sensitive reading. Eileen Brennan I'd seen do a musical off Broadway, Little Mary Sunshine, and I remembered her for that. And I thought she looked like a waitress in a small town. So
She was Mata Hari in that one. She sang Mata Hari in that, didn't she, Eileen Brennan? Or was she Little Mary Sunshine?
she was Little Mary Sunshine. And Jeff Bridges came in and read. I thought he was perfect because he was so likable as a person that playing an unlikable character, which to Dwayne is somewhat unlikable, he does unlikable things. I thought he would create an interesting tension between his real personality and the things his character did. Tim Bottoms there was two finalists for that part. You'll be surprised in the other one, and the other one almost got it. It was John Ritter. And
who is brilliant in They All Laugh, by the way. Absolutely brilliant.
I did 3 pictures with him ultimately, and he became one of my dearest friends. And to tell you the honest truth, I always regretted that I didn't cast him. But, because he's a brilliant, brilliant actor, besides being a brilliant comedy actor. I was reading my diaries of the time, and I really had decided to cast him, and I got talked out of it. Anyways, Tim is good in the picture. And Sybil I saw on the cover of a magazine, Glamour magazine, and asked my assistant to find out who this girl was. Because I saw her on the cover of a magazine and she had an expression on her face, kind of a smile, kind of an ambiguous smile, and she was wearing a shirt that said, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, all over the shirt written, and I thought the look belied the sentiment on the shirt. You couldn't quite tell if she really did love you, which I thought was right for the part. And then I went to see her, she was in New York, and she came up to my hotel room with her manager, and I had just had breakfast, and the breakfast tray was sitting on the coffee table with a little rose in a vase, you know, that they send you up from hotels. And for some reason, she sat on the floor in front of the coffee table to talk to me. And I said, well, what are you doing lately? She said, well, I'm going to Hunter College, and I'm reading a book by Tolstoy called Brothers Karamazov. I said, that's by Dostoevsky. She says, oh, that's what I meant. And she started, as we were talking, she started very casually flicking the rose like this with her little finger, just kind of flicking it back and forth. And that gesture impressed me. I thought, that's the way she is with boys. Off with their heads. And I decided she could play the part. I didn't read her. Went back to California and said, I think I found the girl. She's a top model, but I think she could be good. She has a sense of humor, and I think she'd be good. And they said, well, did you read her? No. Oh, Peter. So they brought her out, and she read with Jeff and Tim and then John. And she's okay in the readings. They weren't impressed, and I said she's going to do the part. I knew she could do it, and she did. The rest is history.
I think we have time for one more question. I'm so sorry. All right, you two in the front, since you're lucky enough to be sitting in the front and I can see you.
In your own words, could you tell us how you would like to be remembered?
Thanks a lot.
From a classic generation of filmmaking to a new generation of filmmaking where anybody with an iPod and a cell phone can edit a video and put it up, how would you like to be remembered?
Well, I don't know. A guy who made a few good pictures and could do some funny impressions and was very likable. And whose best film is They All Laugh.
And you're selling yourself a little short because you're also a bridge between old Hollywood and you know, that wonderful period of craziness and ferment of the 70s. You know, that was really, some people think, the last gasp of, you know, real, true, you know, renegade artistry in a medium as...
Well, I think it's true. We veered into decadence after that.
Certainly what did you say, what did Orson Welles say? Masturbatory onanism? What? I guess it's the same thing.
Something like that.
All right, last question, then we got to leave the theater.
Okay, I'm going to hate myself for this for years.
Okay, well then don't ask it.
No. I will ask it. It's horrible for me asking you because you're a great director and I love your work, but I know you're a very, very famous film historian and you worked for Esquire and you covered the best. And I'm watching La Dolce Vita this weekend at the film festival, and I want to know what you think about Fellini, because I've heard so many stories, so many different viewpoints, and I want to know what you think, because you're the best.
Well, I don't know if I'm the best, and I don't know if I'm the best judge of Fellini, but I like his early work better than his later work. Like particularly I Vitelloni, which I think had some influence on The Last Picture Show. I think it's a brilliant film. And I like The White Sheik, and I like La Strada to a degree. I don't like his more sophisticated films. Orson Welles used to say that he thought Fellini was at his best when he was young, when he's starting out, because he was a country boy, and he didn't believe the sophisticated Fellini as much as he did the country boy Fellini. The one that you find in I Vitelloni, which is, I think, his most heartfelt picture. But he was a great director, and he loved Bolognese food. And I saw him across a crowded room waving to Orson at Cesarina's in Rome. That was the closest I got to him. Orson liked Bolognese food, too. It's fattening.
3 books that I hope you remember the titles of that you must buy. You must see They All Laughed and St. Jack if you have not. And The Cat's Meow, is that screened yet?
Yeah.
And
Can I tell one quick story?
Quick. Yes. No, actually forever. I mean,
one quick story that sort of sums up what's great about the movies. I was sitting in, I was doing an interview with Jimmy Stewart in the 60s for Esquire, and we were talking about what is the goddamn thing about the movies that's so transfixing and memorable. And Jimmy told me the following story. He says, well, I was shooting a picture in Colorado, a Western, and we stopped for lunch, the usual terrible box lunch. And this guy comes over, he'd been watching, and he comes over to me and he says, you Stewart? I said, yeah. He says, you said a poem once in a picture. That was good. I said, oh, well, thank you. And that's all he said. And he walked away. And I knew just what he meant. It was a scene in a picture we'd done 20 years before, and it couldn't have been more than a minute. I said a poem in a bar. And he remembered it all these years. And I thought, now that is the wonderful thing about the movies. Because if you're good, and God helps you, and you're lucky enough to have a personality that comes across, then what you're doing is you're giving people little tiny pieces of time that they never forget. Thanks for coming.
Can I get your email address? Sure.